I'm used to having my own tech, and Dan and I have worked out something here so you can see my fancy, there we go, okay. And so we started talking about what do we want children's religious education to teach our children. Our congregation, like every UU congregation, has lots of different ideas. But we did some surveys, and we've had some conversations with parents and grandparents, and other people too that aren't parents and grandparents, but that are interested in our children. And what we came up with, the things that were suggested were, click, we want our children to hear about people who confront evil with justice, compassion, and love. We want them to hear wisdom from the world's religions, which can inspire them to live an ethical life. We want them to hear humanist teachings, which counsel them to be guided by reason and science. We want them to hear about earth-centered traditions, which encourage them to celebrate and live in harmony with the rhythms of nature. Click. We want to help our children find the religious language for and their own answers to the existential questions such as, who am I? What's my purpose? How do I choose to live my life? What happens when I die? Why do bad things happen sometimes? Click. We want to help our children develop a sense of belonging that's so important for humans, and a sense of responsibility towards others. Click. Okay, how can we help our children? How can we help them reach these goals? Reverend Gaye, Mindy, and I have researched this question. We've arrived at an answer we think will work, at least for our younger children for now. Click. Spirit Play. Spirit Play is a Unitarian Universalist religious program that is designed for kids. They can go on up, but that's really designed for kids from about 3 to 8, and that's where we're putting it in our church. Click. Spirit Play is designed to, click, tell stories about good people, the world's religions, science, scientists, and the natural world. Click. The questions and activities help children find their own meaning in life. Click. The weekly time together encourages a very strong sense of community. Click. Spirit Play is based on something by Jerome Berryman, a Christian with a background in both theology and Montessori education methods. He developed a Sunday school program called Godly Play. Godly Play is organized for 2 adults to work together to present a story and then some questions to the children so that they can start a discussion. One adult is the teacher. She or he reads the story and then leads a short discussion about it. The other adult is the doorkeeper. He or she greets the children and helps the teacher as needed. Berryman's study of the Montessori method informed his design for the second part of Godly Play. He set up materials so that the children can easily access everything independently, and the children use those materials to respond to the story and the discussion. Click. Spirit Play was developed from Godly Play by Unitarian Universalists with backgrounds in religious education and Montessori methods. Key to Spirit Play are materials are kept on shelves, easy access for the kids. The materials remain from week to week to be used to respond to the stories. There are 2 adults involved every week, teacher and doorkeeper, each with specific duties. Stories that are read or told emphasize Unitarian Universalist principles and heritage. Click. Okay, what does a Spirit Play morning look like? Click. Children are greeted by the doorkeeper, and they quietly enter the room. Click. Floor mats are laid out prior to their arrival so the children know where to sit. The story and discussion questions are at hand for the teacher to use. The doorkeeper keeps the children focused on the story as needed. Click. The children choose materials to use and respond to the story. Click. 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 The teacher and the doorkeeper assist with anything the children ask for. They might want help. They might just want to talk about what they're doing. They may not want any interference at all. They may just want to work on their own or together. Click. At the end of the response time, the children put away the materials. Click. The teacher and the doorkeeper help the children get the snack. Snack is key here, because by this time they've worked hard, they're hungry. But it's already set up in the room. You're not going to have to go anywhere if you decide to do this. It's going to be right there for you. Click. The snack is cleaned up. The children are signed out to their parents. That's a typical day for spirit play. Click. Now, I am excited. I want us to do spirit play, and we are going to start in October, first Sunday in October. Currently, I'm the only person in the church who is actually had spirit play training. However, if you've gotten excited with me, we have 2 teacher training classes this week. Right here at our church in room 1+2. One of the teacher training classes is Wednesday, and the other one is Sunday. Click. Maybe, however, you don't want to be an RE teacher. I understand. Maybe you've been looking for a way to become more involved, but you just really don't want to be a teacher. Is there something else that you can do? Click. Why, yes, there is. You can be a nursery assistant. We have wonderful babies and toddlers. They would love to have you in there with them. And Miss Sharon is in there so that you don't have the full responsibility. You just kind of get to play with them. It's so fun. Click. You can be a spirit play doorkeeper. Then you don't have to do the reading, you don't have to do the teaching, but you can have fun with the kids, and you can encourage their learning and creativity, which really is a wonderful thing for adults to do for kids. Click. You could be a Jedi assistant. You can support our 3rd through 6th graders who, as you can imagine, need your support. That's a hard time. They are becoming teachers, philosophers, scientists, engineers, physicians, diplomats, and most of all, warriors for justice. You could help with that. Click. Okay. Don't really want to work with the kids directly? I can understand that too. You could be a room parent. Use your communication skills to assist our wonderful Director of Religious Education in keeping all the families informed of what's going on in religious education, children and youth religious education. Click. Don't even want to do that? Understand. We've got more. You can be a project assistant. You can bring your creativity and help with a project of your choice or a project of your suggestion. If there's something you think we need, bring it up. We'd probably love to work with you. But we're going to need story props. We're going to need bulletin boards. We're going to need puppet making, auction basket building. We're going to need you on family game night. And there's more, much more. Click. Okay. I also invite everyone to become involved in helping our children and youth religious education. They are the foundation of our church. They are the future of our church. They are the most wonderful part of our church, and they really, really, really need you. You are invited to come to any of our CYRE meetings. They are held on Sundays in October, January, and April, and that's where we make our plans.
We're not ready yet, David. We're not ready yet. I've got a part 2. Okay. All right. Stories like the one Lynn shared with us during Time for All Ages invites our children to use their imagination and creativity to work on their notions and their sense of belonging in the world. It's so important and productive. The psychologist John Wellwood says that children especially before the consolidation of their sense of personal identity, live closer to open space than adults in many ways, still naturally close to an open ground, which gradually becomes more obstructed as they get older. Rachel Jameson Webster writes in the journal Parabola that this openness to mystery and energy is necessary to any great artistic or spiritual experience and is recognizable in the children among us and in our inner children. Webster remarks that in the poem I read earlier, There Was a Child Went Forth, Walt Whitman recalls his feelings of transparency, of accruing a relationship with the world in which the world and its elements entered his being and enlarged it. We might conclude, hearing the last lines, that the child is any of us. These became part of that child who went forth every day and who now goes and will always go forth every day. And Webster writes that innocence can embrace the world and renew it in a way that does not turn a blind eye to experience. Innocence may be sharpened and expanded through experience, but it is the holy ground we return to. So Spirit Play is such a delightful and much needed innovation in our Sunday morning religious education for our children, as well as for anyone else who comes into contact with it, parents, grandparents, teachers, and assistants. To quote Sophia Fawes, the pioneer of religious education in Unitarian Universalism, messages surely come to listening ears. They may take 100 or 1,000 years. Our children may hear them, or their children's children. With each answer we know, our wonderings grow. Now, irrespective of the fact that every one of us began life as children, some people don't like to be around children. That's fair enough. But I think we all agree that we want the children of this congregation to be leaders in its future who are informed, educated, and shaped by Unitarian Universalist values, supporting them in the formative years of their life through programs like Spirit Play and taking an active part as parents, grandparents, teachers, or volunteers is a spiritual practice. May we be the ones who make it so, who, in the words of our closing hymn that we'll sing in a few minutes, seek the spirit of a child who meets life naturally, loves instinctively, and sees delightedly. I'd like to ask you to turn in the back of your hymnal to some wise words about your children. 715. 715. These come from Khalil Gibran. 715. And I'll read the plain type if you'll read the italics. Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in a house tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you, for life goes not backward, nor tarries with yesterday. You are the wells from which your children as living arrows are sent forth. The archer sees the mark upon the path of the infinite and bends you with might that the arrows may go swift and far. Let the wind on the archer's hand be for gladness. Our closing hymn is number